what Decklist says about it.
Donphan, the armor Pokémon. Donphan is the evolved form of Phanpy. They attack by rolling their bodies into a circle and charging their enemies.
Warning!
Mercy.
Trying to defeat my Donphan, it's not quite easy cause it can survive everything, it's perfect man. Last chance potion, here's the plan. Yo, get out your one-shot machines. I just can't believe what I see. A bazillion amount of damage, oh please, we healed it off completely. Yeah, we roll over a Zoroark and we're not even getting scarred. This card might leave a mark on the scene when it hits so hard. We have got back up with Buzzwole, Sledgehammer's not getting old, yo. Winning the prize race is our goal, yo. And with the help of Sturdy, we win them all. It's time to start hustling. With Hustle Belt, we start covering huge numbers, rolling spin incoming. We won game one, so start shuffling. Yeah, episode 199. Donphan from Lost Thunder. What's up YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome to episode 199 on my channel. As you know, on my channel we check out the latest TCG content in town, so be sure you are subscribed. And today we're gonna be visiting Donphan. For those of you that are familiar with the channel, Donphan Prime is what started this channel in the first place, and I'm glad to see another competitive Donphan like this. We already saw one back in the days of Plasma as well, which I did very well with throughout the regionals in that period of time. And this time around, this Donphan is from Lost Thunder with the ability Sturdy. This is an ability that cannot get shut down because we don't have any ways to shut down abilities from stage 1 non-GXs. That means Glaceon cannot shut it down, a little Muck cannot shut it down, but Slacking can shut it down but sees no play at all. And we do hit for weakness against, of course, Slacking, so we don't have to worry about it too much. And the Sturdy ability is just like in the video games. That means if you want to one-shot Donphan, you're gonna have a tough time because its remaining HP will become 10 instead. And that means Donphan will win the prize race with almost all decks. They will try to one-shot, think about it like Granbull. They will one-shot you and oh yeah, our remaining HP becomes 10, and then we can make use of all sorts of crazy stuff. We have things like Hustle Belt, things like Last Chance Potion, but more on that later. Donphan is also kind of a neat Pokemon because not only has it 130 HP, it also dishes out quite the number of damage. First, with Rolling Spin you dish out 70, and during your next turn, if Donphan is still your active Pokemon, you deal 140. And 140 against things that are weak to fighting, think about Zoroark-GX, which is very popular. You one-shot them. Not only that, with Diancie Prism Star at our side, with this card is just racking lots of decks. Zoroark is still one of the most popular Pokemon in the format, and of course Donphan can make good use of that by being this type. Not only we are weak to grass, which means things like Goliath will one-shot us, the jump lifts will one-shot us, but if they try to one-shot us, our remaining HP becomes 10, so this doesn't even matter too much. The weakness is irrelevant. The weakness of Donphan is spread decks, so things like Giratina, Spell Tags, Tapu Koko, Flying Flip, and the Decidueye with Feather Arrow will make Donphan very, very fragile. If they can get some damage onto it before they one-shot it, then Donphan will see the discard pile. But now we're gonna talk about the Donphan deck. I'm definitely gonna check out all the possible combos and cards with this deck, so definitely follow up. So instead of we're off talking about some regular cards, we're gonna set up a deck list right here, and at the end of the video we'll talk about some single-use cards that you can just maybe put in your own version of the deck. We cannot make use of Professor Elm's lecture. That means, yeah, Phanpy does not have 60 HP, it has 80 HP, which is fantastic. That means even a Buzzwole GX with a Beast Energy cannot one-shot our Phanpy. We have 80 HP, so if they get out Diancie Prism Star and the Beast Energy, we are still knocked out, but they can only get that out with Lizaya, and yeah, what are the chances that people are definitely play that? Who knows? Yeah, we're gonna be running 4 copies of that as well, so a 4/4 line of Donphan is the trick. We want to have non-GXs in our deck, but I do think there's also one Pokemon I definitely want to include here, and that is a 1/1 line of the Lycanroc. Why are we gonna put in Lycanroc? Well, that is the main reason. With Bloodthirsty Eyes, we can target anything we possibly want. Is Donphan still in the active position? Boom, we can target something and we can use Rolling Spin for the KO. Or you can rely on the amazing Dangerous Rogue GX, which we gotten pretty used to throughout the season right here. We're dealing 50 damage for every Pokemon the opponent has on their bench, and that is just punishing the opponent a lot. What else are we gonna run in this deck? So first we're gonna talk about some combo cards here that work very well with the Donphan. Of course, we're gonna have to talk about the Hustle Belt. If the remaining HP of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 30 or less, you dish out 60 more damage, and it does not even have to be equipped to like, let's say you equipped it to Donphan, you can also dish out that damage to non-GXs. So it's not like Choice Band, it's even better, but you have to have low HP, so Hustle Band is perfect. Why are we not running Choice Band? Our main tool card of choice will be XP Share, because getting 2 energies equipped onto Donphan is very difficult, and that's why we're going to be relying on the strategy of XP Share. There might also be another way to just get this rolling, but I think this is the most convenient way. If a Donphan actually sees the discard pile, you just can use the XP Share to get an energy onto your next Donphan, attach a DCE, and up you're rolling. So we're going to be running copies of that. There's also things that work very well with Donphan, and that is of course the Last Chance Potion. As you can see here, you can just heal off 120 damage from one of your Pokemon that has 30 HP or less, and that is perfect for the Donphan. Let's say they use a one-hit KO move, well, HP will become 10 instead, and then you heal off 120 damage from the Donphan, making sure that you have full HP back once again. So very great card. I will definitely burn in 3 or 4 copies of that card. So before we go into the items, let's talk about, of course, the reasoning behind running Stadium cards. Well, of course, there's Prism Star Stadium cards in certain decks that you want to get rid of, and the things we want to run here is Brooklet Hill, which can get, of course, your fighting types and play very quickly, and the Shrine of Punishment will help out a ton. The thing I have to notice here is that with Shrine of Punishment, don't get out your Lycanroc too early. Lycanroc will be one of those Pokemon you get out late game to just get your last 2 prize cards, or you just want to target something that will help you in the prize race. The Brooklet Hill is crazy good for setup, so in my opinion, 1-3 split line is better, but it all depends on your personal preference. Whether you like setting up or you want to have the damage of Shrine of Punishment is all up to you. Another card we want to talk about is Baby Buzzwole. It has been seeing play ever since its release in Forbidden Light, and it shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Sledgehammer, if you have exactly 4 prize cards remaining, or actually if the opponent has exactly 4 prizes remaining, you can dish out 120 for a single energy, and with the addition of course, the Diancie Prism Star, you hit for crazy numbers, and Buzzwole will be taking KOs on things like the Zoroark GX, or maybe other Pokemon like Gramble, for example. If you have Diancie Prism Star out, you dish out 140, enough to even one-shot those 1 prizers. Diancie Prism Star is definitely a must in this deck, so we're just gonna lay this right here. We're gonna slowly set up the deck list while we talk about every single card that might be useful. Other tool cards that I want to talk about is like Choice Band. With Choice Band and Diancie Prism Star, you with Rolling Spin one-shot Zoroark entirely, so you don't even need some extra damage counters around, but I am not running Choice Band in this list. Things like switches are also interesting. I'm also not running that because we're relying on Guzman, but we do have a huge retreat cost by our side, but we're definitely going to talk about some more options down the line. So let's just continue with the Pokemon line here. We're going to have Marshadow. I think Marshadow is always great in a deck where you can just have Ultra Ball to search it out, and the Marshadow will actually disrupt certain opponents that have a huge hand size. Think about Zoroark players, think about even Gramble players will very much be in trouble if you just get a Marshadow out. Other cards that I think are very good are like Oranguru with the Instruct. Sometimes if you have a low hand size, you can rely on Instruct. Not only that, XP Share on Oranguru will make sure that Oranguru turns into a powerful attacker with Psychic. Very good against things like Gardevoir GX or things that have lots of energies. And then the last card is going to be Tapu Koko Flying Flip. The reasoning why we're not running Choice Band is that I like using Flying Flip early game while we just set up our little Phanpys, and as soon as you have some more damage counters around, the Rolling Spin will actually one-shot Zoroark GXs with Diancie Prism Star out. So this is going to be the Pokemon that we're gonna run. Another option you might consider here, so this is going to be an episode, not a full deck list. Yeah, you get a full deck list, but you get the point. We're also going to talk about some things that are not in the deck list, and that's going to be running the Unit Energy and of course Weavile lines. Weavile with Evil Abdomation just destroys things like Rayquaza, destroys things like Naganadel based decks like Blacephalon, Zoroark decks that rely on Lycanroc or Decidueye. It's just a very good card all around. The thing why we're not running Unit Energy is because things like Enhanced Hammer and of course the decks that get rid of lots of energies are very common nowadays, and running all special energies will be very dangerous in a format like this. So this is also an option if you might cut the Lycanroc or something else for a copy like this, because the Weavile is just so good. Okay, moving forward, we're gonna talk about some supporters. There's lots of choices of supporters, but I think the best way of going about this is going to be running Cynthia and Lily. We're gonna be maxing out those copies because we're not running Tapu Lele GX. The reason for that is that we're running a heavy line of shrines, so that's why we're running 4 copies of the Cynthia and 4 copies of the Lily. Why we're running 4 copies of Lily, that will be our main supporter on the very first turn to get, of course, our Nest Balls in play and Ultra Balls to get our setup. The thing you want is, of course, a second turn or a third turn filled with Donphans that they cannot one-shot, so that's why I think Lily and Cynthia is very great, but you can also run 1 copy of Tate Liza to just have that switching mechanic when you actually want it. Other copies that you might consider are Professor Kukui, Judge, or maybe even Copycat, because as mentioned, this list does not run Tapu Lele GX at all. We're just gonna explore Donphan, and the best way to explore Donphan is by showing a deck list. You can also leave your suggestions in the comment section below if you want to change something about the list. Next supporter is Guzman. Of course, this is going to be in a deck like this because Rolling Spin is very powerful, but sometimes they will actually use Guzman, and that way you are stuck with your Donphan. Even though the damage output gets reset back to 70 instead of 140, the Guzman will make sure that you're back in the active position and your Oranguru or maybe your Diancie won't get stuck in the active. The thing I always recommend is of course a Lycanroc if you want to target something and make use of the Rolling Spin of 140 damage, because with Diancie Prism Star and maybe the crazy, of course, tool card, the Last Chance Potion, actually not Last Chance Potion, the Hustle Belt, you'll definitely get crazy numbers going. Let's say you dish out 140, with this that is going to be 200, with Diancie Prism Star 220, so even things like with 210 HP will go down quite easily. Alright. For the item cards, very simple. We're gonna also be very consistent. We're gonna be running 4 copies of the Ultra Ball and 4 copies of the Nest Ball. That is the most efficient way to get your Pokemon into play. Not only is that great to get out your Koko or your Oranguru with your Nest Ball, but you can also get, of course, your Phanpy or Buzzwole or Rockruff. There's also another way to get them out with Brooklet Hill, but that doesn't count for every single card in the list. Okay, moving on to some more items. I think 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher is kind of a must because you have lots of one-off. Think about Buzzwole, the 1/1 line of Lycanroc, Oranguru, and Tapu Koko. Rescue Stretcher will make sure that you can get back one of those Pokemon when it is in the discard thanks to cards like Ultra Ball, for example. Or maybe the 1 copy of Acrobike. I put 1 copy of that in here just because I like the way addition of extra draw. I would love to put in more Acrobikes, but that also is very risky to put stuff in the discard. Then, of course, the best thing about the deck is Last Chance Potion. It's just made for Donphan, and that's why we're running 3 copies. I would run 4 copies, but I couldn't find the room for it because we need to have other things. That's why I'm running 1 copy of Hustle Belt, because the chance of just dishing out a straight 220 if Diancie Prism Star is on the bench is just way too good not to pass up. If you're not having your second turn Rolling Spin, or actually the attack that gets boosted if you use it once, you just dish out 70. With Diancie Prism Star, that is 90. With the Hustle Belt, that is actually a lot of damage. Why not make use of the Hustle Belt when, yeah, there's just nothing wrong about this card in this deck. If you don't have your Last Chance Potion, you can just make use of that Hustle Belt. And then, of course, 3 copies of the XP Share. That will make sure that you have plenty of energies to go around on your Pokemon on the bench, because sometimes your Donphan will actually get KO'd and then an energy goes to following Donphan. So that's why there's 3 copies of XP Share in there. You could lower it down and maybe add in a choice band or whatever, but that's personal preference. And as mentioned, there's lots of item cards you just want to put in this deck, but there's no space for it. Things I want to mention here, honorable mention again, is going to be Great Ball, to just get an extra ball engine to just get your Donphans out as quickly as possible. We have Pokénav, also a very interesting card that we've seen in the little special event being used 4 times in the deck. So this is very legit. You can just look at the top 3 cards. You can find an energy or a Pokemon there. Even a DCE, you can just grab that with Pokénav. So if you have room in the deck or you make space for it, Pokénav is an interesting option. As mentioned, Kukui is always an interesting choice because with Diancie Prism Star and of course the first attack, Rolling Spin, it dishes out at 110, and that is just fantastic to knock out Zoroark. So Kukui might also find its room in the deck. And then you might wonder, oh well, we're gonna be falling behind in prize cards. What is there to do about that? Well, I have a couple of options. There's of course Counter Gain in combination with of course Counter Energy. The bad thing is that Counter Gain is not searchable. You could run an Alolan Ninetales GX because Alolan Vulpix also works out with Brooklet Hill, but I'm not a huge fan of that, so that's why I'm not including that. Also, the Unit Energy works with Alolan Ninetales GX as well. But Counter Energy and Counter Gain will make sure that Donphan can attack for a single attachment, which might sometimes be the case. Catcher on the other hand will make sure that if you use Rolling Spin on your second turn, bam, you can use Counter Catcher on whatever target to dish out 140 on it. So that is also an option you could go for. And then so for some heavy draw, you might say, well, I don't see the use of Oranguru, I don't get my hand to like a really low hand size. Well, that's of course Zebstrika can also fit in this deck. You can use Nazball to search it out, and then Ultra Ball, you always have of course Sprint to just discard your entire hand, and then you can make use of course all the cards in your deck. If you just want to have that Hustle Belt, bam, you can use Sprint and hopefully you get it. Things like of course XP Share or Last Chance Potion. It's very great to just discard your hand and go for the Sprint. Then we're gonna just finish the list with energies and stadium cards. As mentioned, we're gonna be running the 1-3 split of course Shrine of Punishment and Brooklet Hill. The Shrine is definitely an interesting choice since we're not running any GXs, only Lycanroc, but you have control over that. If you evolve into Lycanroc, you either get a KO or you're just gonna take your last prize cards anyhow. So 3 copies of Shrine will make sure you can get that residual damage between turn. That means that Donphan can one-shot Zoroarks, and that's why we're not running Choice Band. Brooklet Hill is an extra search card to just get your stuff rolling. And then for the energies, it's very simple. We're gonna be running 8 fighting energies. That way we make sure that we can have an energy at least on the early phases of the game, so that we don't have to wait like 3 turns to attack. So 8 copies of the fighting energy, and then to finish the list off, there's going to be 4 copies of the double colorless energy. So that is the list that I came up with from scratch. So if you have something you want to edit, definitely be sure to put it in the comment section. Also let me know if you like these types of episodes where we talk about a card that sees no play at all and we're making a deck with it and showing all the capable strategies, even showing some tech cards here and there. So let me know in the comment section if you like that. That way I know how to continue the episodes, or do you rather want to see them like on the screen with all the detailed information right there. This is a list to already get you started with Donphan. I really like Donphan. It actually is one of the reasons that the channel got started up, and that is going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to demolish the like button. As always, subscribe for more Pokemon TCG content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
If you wanna go and test a deck that isn't played a lot in this format, then listen to what I'll say. If you wanna go and try it out with me, let me know how it does in a tournament. I think it could be really great. Chilling on Sundays while new ideas pop in my brain.